Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me clear my throat real quick. Welcome back. It is episode 2 of the Technical Alpha Podcast. It is the 24th of March, 2017. I am the one, the only white guy in this entire trio. And I'm feeling good.
The only black guy.
Despite being completely...
I'm the only brown guy.
Despite being completely asleep today, I think we're going to have a good time. We got lots to talk about today, but before we start, I want to give a quick shout out to the fact that we are officially on iTunes and Google Play and SoundCloud and Patreon and YouTube. And if you looked hard enough, we might even be where your socks hide after they get lost in the dryer.
We're in Sockland.
I'm not promising. I'm not promising anything. I'm not promising anything. You know what, guys? I haven't changed scenes yet. I haven't changed scenes yet. I have two things that this is going to be nothing to those listening to this later on. I don't know if our video conferencing, if Jeff and Tabin are in the same places on the screen as they were when we set these up. So when we press go, Panic could be in Jeff's spot, and Jeff could be in Panic's spot. Will it happen? Oh my God, we're okay! Yes. We did it. We are okay. I'm going to turn myself down just a shade, because I feel like I might still be a little louder, but we're okay. So, gentlemen.
Am I streaming from Japan today?
Yes. No, you're fine. You're fine. You're streaming from exactly where you need to be streaming from. At this very moment. How are you doing today, Mr. Tabin? What's I see you have a very topical sweater on today.
Very topical. No, I'm pretty good. Pretty tired actually. Long week. Lots of gaming and lots of work. But good overall. How about you guys?
Good. Excellent. How are you doing, Mr. Black?
Good. Just did a short stream. The podcast is consuming part of my life, which is a good thing. So it's been busy, but beyond that,
it has
haven't
been
really done a whole lot.
No. Well, the podcast has consumed all of my life. Actually, I went grocery shopping today. That was exciting. I got out of the house long enough to go grocery shopping, and I tweeted out.
Were you thinking about the podcast?
Absolutely. I was actually on my phone on Twitter at the time, and I had to tweet this out because there was literally this older dude, I'd say probably in his, he was calling the cashier sweetie, so probably 70-something would be my guess. And just this older guy, looked like frail as hell, but looked harmless, but it was whatever. And the entire, like, the entire belt going up to the cash register was packed. But there was only 2 items on the entire conveyor belt. 2 items. One of those items was about 14 bags of salt and vinegar chips.
Okay.
And the other was about 14 cans of peas. And that was literally the only 2 items on the entire conveyor belt was a bunch of salt and vinegar chips and canned peas.
Now, was this like pea paste or just peas in a can? Like, how does that work? Like, I don't think I've ever seen peas in a can. They always come like the frozen blocks.
Yeah, well, you can get bagged frozen peas and fresh peas, and canned peas is something that only really existed like in the 80s when people were putting them in gelatin molds and calling it salad. But apparently that's still actually a thing, and he was stocking up for Fallout. It was happening. It was hilarious. And he tried, and he knew it looked ridiculous because he tried to make a joke with the cashier. He was like, I don't actually like peas. And it fell completely flat because cashier responds,
awkward.
Well, then why did you buy so many peas? That was her response. So
buy
he was
one, get one
already
half.
screwed.
Buy one, get one half. Gotta grab it.
That's right. The BOGO. But we've got a lot to talk about today. No, he wasn't. I think this guy just lives on those two things, which would explain why he looked like he could blow him over in a small wind. But yeah, so we've got a lot. Enough about the old guy at the grocery store. We got a lot to talk about today. And first up, we're gonna get right to it. Panic's gonna be on the hot topic button because he's our man with the inside scoop on 2 of our main topics today. So I hope you're ready to provide that, Mr. Panic.
I hope you guys are ready. 'Cause I feel like I know. I feel like we talked about this earlier, and you were not expecting it. But I think you guys will enjoy it. You guys will enjoy it.
I think it'll be good. So we're gonna first talk about the Nintendo Switch as I dynamically update our overlay because it's the year 2017 and we can do that. We're gonna talk about the Nintendo Switch. It's been obviously heavily talked about for a long while now. It feels like one of the most rushed console releases in my lifetime. Like it feels like it just kind of appeared out of nowhere. They talked about it and then suddenly it was here. And there's been a lot of good and a lot of not so good stuff that has been circulating on the interwebs about the Switch. But out of the three of us, the Mexican actually has one. He got one, brought it back across the border, and now we've got ourselves a guy to talk about the Nintendo Switch. You have it in your hand. Oh, look at that.
Oh, shame on you. You didn't even get the double colored one. Shame.
Oh no, well that's just the screen.
Shame.
Yeah, but he does have the gray. Oh, that's terrible.
My God, you fucked up.
I did not fuck up, man. All right, seriously, I'm not gonna sit there staring at like a giant bright neon red and neon blue controller. If they had a neon, if they had both neon red or both neon blue, I'd probably be all over the neon red. But I'm not gonna deal with one and the other. I'm gonna be like, this is not symmetrical. That's how they get you.
Oh, come on, it looks so dope,
I went
man.
gray, man. I'm gonna probably end up getting a second set of Joy-Cons, the double reds, but I am not dealing with like one of each. Like that just looks stupid.
Wow.
I mean, I think it makes sense conceptually where they're like, okay, if this is a multiplayer thing, now you have two different colors. But when you put them together and you put it on the controller mount, it just looks like a stroked out Spider-Man gone wrong. Like it just doesn't quite look right.
Exactly. No, but like
Spooder. What's the age old meme? Spooderman? Is that what it is?
Spoderman or Spider-Man? Yeah, it depends on which community you go to for the memes.
But what's your takeaway so far? So before I open fire, and believe me, I'm going to open fire on the Switch. I want to know as somebody who actually has their hands on the world's smallest controller, how has the console been for you? What's your experience been like? And just give us some pluses and some minuses from somebody who actually has it in their hand.
I'm gonna say again, like I've read a lot about it. I did kind of get it on an impulse, but one of the big things is it didn't disappoint me as much as I thought it would, which in this day and age is kind of hard to do. It's definitely got flaws, but it's pleasant and it's extremely pleasant to use. It feels like an Android tablet. I feel like Nintendo did a lot of work on Android, because it's like some of the menus and stuff feel like it. But it just works. It's got a lot of gimmicks on it. The controllers, the docking functionality, which is actually like the dock's like in the back somewhere, literally just a piece of plastic. But the big thing is it all works. You throw the console into the dock, it moves onto the TV almost instantly, like within like a second or two. If I pull it out of the dock, I can then I can literally just go and walk around and I'm playing my game like normal. And it's hard to kind of quantify, but I realized how awesome it was when I was coming back from Mexico. I had it in my backpack with me, and my flight was delayed. It was supposed to be delayed for a couple hours, and it was awesome because I just pulled this out and I had not like a mobile watered down version of a console game. I had full on Zelda, Breath of the Wild, and it plays like a full on console game. It looks fabulous on the screen. Yeah, it's only 720p, but on a screen that size, it works out really well. And yeah, and it just plays out well. And people were worried about the battery life. I was too. I had an Anker power bank and stuff, but I barely dented it while I was waiting. Even charging off a power bank. People were complaining, oh, if you're playing it while you're gonna kill the charge on it anyway. On the flight there, it was a 4-hour flight. I was playing it for about 3 hours, and I left the plane with more power than I had. So, that was like my big concern because it is kind of a beefy console compared to the thickness of other tablets and stuff. But it plays really well, and and overall, I've been enjoying it. I know the big thing is the games. It's only got Zelda really for me. I haven't really cared for the other game, like shovelware type games they have out so far. But Zelda itself.
But Panic, you can milk cows with friends.
I can feel the ice cubes.
Can you feel the ice cubes? How many of them are there? Are there 2? Are there 5 ice cubes?
I think I don't know, man. They're all in my drink from Mexico. So no, but the big thing is the game quality for Zelda. You know, on the console, it doesn't feel like Nintendo made any compromises in terms of the gameplay or the mechanics in the game. It feels like a full-on Nintendo-powered like title, and I know a lot of people might be confused about that, but if you think about it, you inside your heart will know what that means. And you know, I've spent an entire day, like I think last Saturday, I sat on my couch all day and played Zelda and didn't realize I spent the entire day playing Zelda. And I'm still, you know, it's great experience.
Now, is that the game, or is that the console doing it for you? Because the game is also available on the Wii U as well, and it's kind of like, listen, is it the Zelda that is making you love the Nintendo Switch, or is there something about the console that warrants paying $400 for the console itself, or just for Zelda, essentially?
Hope. Look, Nintendo hasn't had a good stable of launch titles in a while. Most of their consoles have launched with crap titles. I'm not even going to defend that. The Wii U was just a travesty, in my opinion. Some people will probably lynch me for that, but I feel like the Wii U is just a complete miss. The Switch, I feel like they kind of did the dive bomb approach that Adam was mentioning earlier, because they didn't want to give a whole lot of time for people to kind of hype it up in their minds. So, you know, they said Switch is coming in like 2 months, and then it was here. So, you know, I've had it in my hands. And to answer your question, I think it's a combination of the two. Zelda is great. I'm sure it probably plays really well on the Wii U. But the fact is that I can play Zelda on like a 7-inch tablet and take it with me, and it's not like Ocarina of Time or whatever that I'm playing on a 3DS, which is over here. You know, on a 3DS, you know, it's a full experience, and it was pretty nice. Nintendo really did hit it out with the hardware. Aside from some of the, you know, little quirks that people have been reporting online, like, you know, screen scratches. I haven't experienced that Joy-Con problem that people have been saying, where like they lose connectivity. I've been walking around my apartment with the controller, and you know, no problem with it.
Do you have a like a launch run one, because they've already re-upped on production since launch, like the first rounds of them? Like, we were going to talk about this. Gabs actually
I got mine day one.
The link. Okay, so you do have one. So, like, from reports that I read over time, because this was obviously one of the major things that came up for the Switch immediately hardware-wise, was if I wave my hand in front of this, all of a sudden I can't actually use my controller anymore. Like, it was like that. But from what I understand is it wasn't affecting everybody. And now a report came out. Nintendo didn't address it necessarily directly, but people were pulling apart controllers, and they've started in some of the new Joy-Cons. Yeah. Some of the new Joy-Cons, they're included, I guess, a little piece of foam that is in between the sensor, like the wireless sensor header piece of the board, and some of the other components, because I think when I saw Jerry Rig Everything tore it down, and he was describing what each of the parts were that he was taking out, I thought that the part that does the sending of the signal to the console also doubled as another function, and I can't remember which one it was. If it was not audio, if it was what was it? Can't remember, but I think it was a double function. But basically, what the foam was supposed to do is to make sure that it didn't come into contact with anything else in the controller, and apparently that was causing 99.9% of those issues. So as soon as that happened, apparently
like, I don't know,
that issue's
like,
gone away.
Again, like most playtime has been me sitting on my couch with like a fleece blanket over me, like like knees to chest, just holding the controller and just like huddled up and playing. So like, I've had my knees and like my giant, enormous meat leg things blocking me from the Switch in line of sight from the dock and everything. And I haven't had any problems. Like I haven't had any weird controller dropouts, and I play in weird positions. Like I don't know. So for me personally, it hasn't been a problem. I have heard about it. Even some of my friends have had it, but it might very well just be something in the initial run.
I think what it is for me, and yeah, I've watched YouTube videos of the hardware shit in the bed. I've watched people write these articles on how shitty the Nintendo Switch is as a console. But at the beginning, I was kind of on that train biasly because Nintendo has a track record of just doing some really dumb shit all the time. Not only am I a little bit more biased because I'm an entertainer in the gaming world, and they like to try and monetize everything that you do, try and hit you with copyrights, just absolute madness, and a reason why a lot of their games aren't played on the big scale on Twitch, simply because people just won't go near it for the most part. And so I was one of those guys, and I was hating on it for the sake of hating on it. I was hating on it because I knew I wasn't going to buy it. I was hating on it because they gave me a reason to. I've had some time to really think it over. I was at PAX East. I saw many people using the Switch, which I thought was really cool. Standing in line to go play some 3D game or some VR game for wherever at some booth, and every 10 people in line using a Nintendo Switch, and actually just everyone's having fun. Everyone's having a good time, pointing at each other's screens. Now everybody's playing Zelda, but everybody's having a good time. And I saw that and I was like, okay, well, maybe this isn't all that bad. So then when I got back home from PAX, I went to EB Games. For one, if you guys live in Canada, I don't know if this is in the States or not, but EB Games got a really sick trade-in deal for the foreseeable future, where you can trade in a PS4 game, an Xbox One, a Wii U, or a 3DS game or a console and get double the trade-in value. And they give you a minimum of $10 per game. So you could go out and go to a pawn shop and buy a bunch of NHL 2014s for $5, trade it in at EB and get a guaranteed $10 for it. Or if you have like Final Fantasy 15 that you beat or any other game, you can trade it in and get double the value as long as it goes towards a Nintendo Switch or the games or accessories or anything like that. So when I got back, it was such a great deal. And as you can see, you can't really see it because the camera's so small, but I've got a lot of games back there, and I had a lot of like shitty games I never played. So I was like, you know what, man, screw it. I'll go and pick up a Nintendo Switch. I wasn't even going to pick up the Zelda because I'm not a Zelda guy, and I'll get into that in a second. But, the console itself, just judging from, someone like Tabin who's played it, other people that I talked to that have played it, it doesn't seem that bad. I think a lot of the stuff that was said, people were looking for things to bash on it. Some of it, it was warranted for sure. It doesn't change the fact that the console was super rushed. It just got thrown out there. There's no games. They should have had a Mario come out with the console at the minimum.
Mario, definitely.
Now we're going to wait until, a holiday season to get that. We've got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, basically the same game with a couple of extra features. Super rushed, just really gimmicky. And that's what I think infuriated some people, including myself, where I really wanted to give it a chance at the start, and then I was hating on it. But now I've come back around, but I'm still not going to run out and buy one and pay the $400 to play Zelda. I'm going around in circles.
The circle of Jeff's mind. The circle of Jeff's mind.
What I'm getting at, man, is I'm angry that I don't have a reason to buy it. Put something out so I can go fucking buy your console. I don't play Zelda. Just give me a reason.
I have a couple of things to say about the actual hardware, but in addition, I'm sure there's a lot of people who are wondering. But there's two big things that I love about this, and Apple can suck it because Nintendo even got around to. It's got a freaking USB-C port. Okay, that's amazing for Nintendo to use a standardized port for charging. I know, it's amazing.
Future!
You can charge it with a standard USB cord. I can use the same one I use on my phone. It's amazing. Second, Apple headphone jack. Really useful.
Panic. Whoa. Let's be fair. Nobody uses a 3.5 mil jack anymore. It is antiquated shit that nobody uses, and it's just a waste of space that we can make the device 1 micron thinner by fucking taking it out.
The thing is, though, I haven't actually figured out how to plug my to connect my wireless headphones into it. So I have my Sennheisers over here, and I was sitting in the airport, and I'm like, I really hope I brought my cable to plug it in because I don't know how to sync the two. But the big thing though, and I'm sure Jeff, you've probably heard about this, Adam too. The performance of the actual tablet in whatever form. I was actually kind of surprised at how fluid everything ran on the tablet. Like Zelda runs completely smooth like butter, no frame drops, nothing when I'm in tablet mode. And for me, that was huge. Like, because I'm not going to knock NVIDIA. The Tegra is a completely, is a respectable processor. But when I heard Nintendo was running a, Switch on the Tegra, I was a little concerned just about performance because, the Shield has pretty good performance.
Not to interrupt you, Panic, but do you know if they ended up, because before the Switch launched and we knew anything, because this was one of the first consoles where we knew literally nothing hardware-wise, pretty much, going into the launch, there was speculation as to whether or not it was going to be the newest iteration of the Tegra chip or if it was going to be the one that was in the last refresh. Do we know which one ended up in the Switch?
I don't know offhand. I can do the research, but I'm pretty sure it's not the one that was in the Shield, but it was the one that was supposed to go in the canceled Shield, but not like the newest Tegra. I don't hold me to that. I'm not 100% positive, but this leads me to the next part, which I was actually disappointed in, because the tablet runs at 720p, but when you plug it in, I have a really nice TV behind me, and I was disappointed because when I plugged Zelda into that, granted, it looked absolutely gorgeous, and it runs fluidly and it runs relatively well until I get to anywhere where there's grass. Like the waving, flowing grass. Because then I'll be sitting there, I'll be going up against like a Moblin or a Bokoblin or whatever they're called, and all of a sudden I'm at like 10 FPS, and I'm like, oh crap. Because the grass is swaying. The grass is just swaying.
Yeah.
It's like, but the thing is, like, and I wish Nintendo paid a little bit more attention to stuff like that, because, when it's in the dock, you're supposed to be kind of putting your best foot forward. Nintendo was selling it as a home console that you can take portably, but I found it performs better as a portable than as a home console.
Yeah,
so, that was interesting to me. Does it upscale to like 916 or something?
It's some weird 900 variant P thing where they squeezed every last line of P out of it to make it as close to 1080 as possible. But
it looks beautiful.
Yeah, well, yeah. So no, the art. The art style they chose for the game
goes
a long way, right? It goes a long way. But that bothered me too. I mean, I don't think it's a secret that Nintendo has a marketing problem. Yeah. Like when it comes to their home consoles, anyway. When it comes to their handhelds, they smash that better than anybody else. They just go to town. It's fantastic. But when it comes to their home consoles, at least. If we're gonna be more fair to Nintendo, the Switch and the Wii U particularly have been really awful marketing wise. The Switch is, like you were saying, being marketed as a home console that coincidentally can undock and be taken on the go for use in other areas than the home. But now, like you're noticing, and like that went around the internet really quick when people figured out that they could play Breath of the Wild in handheld mode and get all the FPS versus docking it and getting
flawless,
like way less FPS. Like when I watch streamers, because I wanted to watch performance, and I'm watching, like Gabs has it, we have it for the Wii U, right? And you expect the Wii U to not run it all that hot because it's the Wii U, right? It's a toaster powered by a hamster. Well, I expected this new console that they're launching, the one and only AAA title, to run a little bit better, especially since it's a game that was built for the Wii U. And so when it goes over there and I'm watching streamers play, and you can visually tell when it's a Wii U and when it's a Switch, but with frame rate, they're both terrible. Both of them have horrible spots, and in some cases, the Wii U actually runs better than the docked Switch, which blew me away. It was really strange to see that. Obviously, the Wii U should have a bit of an advantage because, one, it's running in a lower resolution, and it was the console that the game was originally developed for. But I think that's the point, is that Nintendo rushed this console out so bad that they had to take a game off of their dead console and shoehorn it in as the only launch title of their new console, and are doing that. I can't remember the name of the game now, but there's another one that's actually getting axed off the Wii U to be put on to the Switch because, as we now figured out not long ago, Nintendo is even going so far as to stop production on the Wii U now, and only just recently did Sony announce that they're going to slow down to a halt the PS3 production. So you know your console has been a rough go from beginning to end when you're canceling it at the same time that people's last 2 generations ago are finally starting to wind down production.
Well, that's the thing, like, especially with the Switch, one of the big problems, launch titles, like, I looked at it on launch day, it was a 1-2 Switch, some other random game, Binding of Isaac, and Zelda. And I'm just like, well, this sucks.
Yeah, no virtual store, nothing.
Yeah, it comes down, again, the entire success of the Switch is going to come down to the games coming out. Like, the Xenoblade game looks amazing. Fire Emblem, it looks really good.
You mean PowerPoint the game? Did you see how that performed at E3? Xenogears or Xenoblade, whatever it was, it literally ran at 4.5 frames per second in an E3 trailer. Can you imagine what the actual game is like?
I feel like they were running that docked.
Well, so here's my concern.
Does it matter? Does it matter though if it's docked or not?
A little bit. It does matter. It does matter.
Well, here's my concern. If they're going to stop production with the Wii U, and they're going to start forcing these games and developers to make for the Switch, and we already have a game like Zelda, when it's docked, it's going down to what Panic says, 10, 15 frames. What kind of power can the Switch really do? Is this another advancement in graphical abilities, in pushing the envelope in terms of gaming? Are they going to try and get in the VR space? Because we all know Nintendo's all about gimmicks. Are they just going to continue to make shitty plastic pieces that you can add to your Switch to milk a cow or to fuck a donkey, or to jerk off a bull and grab a fucking glass of semen?
Yes, they are.
Well, I mean, what exactly can the Switch do at this point? If it's struggling on a game like Zelda.
Well, looking at the dock, I feel like they designed it a very specific way. There's a lot of empty space in it. I feel like they're going to have some kind of performance dock or something to add on to the capacity. I would be surprised if they didn't realize this at some point, that they need to design and add in something to, buff the graphics capability of the Switch. And I feel like they're already selling the dock for $90, so they're going to go for like another 100, 150.
Well, you know what this is going to remind me of is, remember the N64 had the expansion pack for like Donkey Kong and all, and some of the stuff that came later. I can see an entirely new dock being released that's an external GPU like addition to aid in putting it. Yeah.
And if you hold a Switch in your hand, it's thick, but I've noticed it's got a lot of ventilation for a tablet. So I feel like they knew at some point they're going to have to either, overclock the shit out of this thing, because there's like 2 giant vents right on the back, and then you can see the heatsink and like a giant vent like right on the top header of it. It gets warm, but it doesn't really get hot when you're playing. So I feel like they can really push what they can do with it, and if they add on a dock, they can go further. I feel like they know that they kind of got they got screwed over in specs.
Do you think that this is going to be a thing where we have the current state of the Nintendo Switch, and then say a year down the road, 9 months down the road, we're going to get a Nintendo Switch S or some beefier,
I hope not,
with a bigger hard drive, a bigger, with that expansion pack in it, and it's going to up the price $100, and it's going to come with Zelda or come with Mario Odyssey, It's going to do the same thing that the Xbox One has done and the PS4, but at a much expedited rate.
It has expandable memory on its own already. It takes micro SD cards on its own, so Nintendo really doesn't have to deal with that. It's on the user if they want to add in more expandable memory.
But is it though really, Panic? Is it though really? Because let's just examine that little point right there, that little asterisk there of the memory.
If you're gonna bring up the save game,
no. How much memory does the Nintendo Switch come with out of the box?
32 gigs.
What year is it?
Gigs. Believe it's 2005, but I might be
I just
wrong.
wanted to make sure.
That's what my PSP came with.
because I had my Motorola 4G had more memory than that, and that shit is in a graveyard somewhere.
But you don't need to, unless you're getting virtual consoles, you don't have to install the game. Like Zelda runs completely off the cartridge.
But here's the follow up. Here's the follow up to that. But if you want to install Zelda to the console, which is going to help, if you install a game, it's going to usually help you in some way, shape, or form. Or many people,
you don't need to with the cartridge
because it's not a CD game, right? So the cartridge is going to be faster than a CD.
Faster.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But people make use of the virtual console, and eventually when it comes around, we can talk about that too, because this thing literally has nothing. But when that comes around and people are downloading games, and because there are lots of good games out there for that, and then some people can't get their hands on these games. Like we almost bought it on the Wii U, on the virtual console for Zelda. Do you know how much Zelda is as a file size? It's over half the available memory of the storage of the Nintendo Switch for one game. One game. Now here's the added problem that Nintendo has.
The SD cards are cheap though. They're cheap.
No, they're not.
But it doesn't matter. Even if they are, even if they're $40 or $30. It should come with more, and you know why they're not doing that is because they want to sell you one or sell you some more bullshit.
But here's
how much does
here's the
Microsoft
thing.
sell like a 64 gig hard drive or whatever they're doing nowadays? Now, granted, it comes with 1 terabyte on the newer ones, but
even before 500 gigs was like, if you got a 500 gigs, that was the lowest you went. I mean, you had a 200, like the last time that we had a no hard drive or a low end hard drive solution was the Xbox 360. What did they call it? They had a moniker for it, but it came with either no hard drive or next to nothing in memory. It was like enough for some save games, and that was it. 500 gigs is the minimum. I don't care if a 32 gig solid, not SSD, SD card is like $18 or whatever it is, because the fact of the matter is most people that are expanding memory in a console aren't doing it to take selfie pictures on their fucking cell phone. They're doing it to install games, and they are multiple gigs at a time. And if you're talking about the lifespan of a console, 64 gigs isn't going to cut it. 128 gigs isn't going to cut it. There's a reason why PS4, Xbox, my phone all have way more than 32 gigs of storage, and it's because shit is big now. You need at least 256. That's fair. Now, here's another question this is I already know the answer to, but I'm going to be a facetious asshole, is what's the largest SD card money can buy right now, consumers?
256 gig for micro SD.
Okay. And how much do they run? They're about $100, aren't they?
Depends on the speed, anywhere from 115 to 200, depending on the speed.
Okay, so to hit half of the available storage that you get on other consoles right now, you have to use 50% of, or not 50%, a quarter of the cost of your console just to get to halfway there. You can't go more than 256. 512 and 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte are slated to arrive. Can you imagine how much money a 512 or 1 terabyte or 2? Because they said, Nintendo was like, don't worry guys, we're going to support up to 2 terabyte SD cards. I can't even begin to fathom how expensive a 512 would be, let alone 1 terabyte and 2 terabyte in terms of the overall cost of the console. On my Xbox that I had before a bunch of scrubs stole it, or my PS4 that I've got now if I wanted to expand it, I could go spend $60 and get a terabyte hard drive and smash it in there and never think about it again. $60 gets me 128 gigs of storage on the Nintendo Switch.
And again, like, I think this kind of comes around to the whole issue of the value proposition around the Switch. And I think even Nintendo is confused about it because they went big where they shouldn't have gone big, and they went small where they shouldn't have gone small. Like, yeah, I agree with you. The memory probably shouldn't have been that small, but like Nintendo straight up doubled down on the tablet form factor. You know, it's kind of weird. Again, it's a weird console, and everyone has kind of said it from what they've seen.
I
don't know. For me,
I don't even consider it a
experience.
console. I don't even consider it a console, man. I consider it a handheld with console capabilities.
I don't. Even
I don't know.
have a
I thought the
problem
same
with
thing up until I sat and played it. Until I sat and played it, I was like, "Oh, you know
sure.
what? I'll give this a full-fledged console status."
I don't even have. I'm not even all that worried about the form factor of it and everything else. It's how the console arrived, which was like basically a crash landing on fire. Everybody was dumping water, trying to stop
Like this
everything from
podcast.
exploding. Like this podcast, it was the technical alpha console, the mascot of this podcast, because everything that came out like managed to happen right as it launched. Like we find out that it doesn't have a virtual console. How? Why? How
Rush,
do you
that's
go?
why. That's literally the only reason. Is
How
Rush
do you go
wasn't
We
ready.
backwards?
need to
And
get
then-
it out
and then-
before Scorpio.
And then because they're competing with the 4K Xbox machine. That's silly. Of course they're not rushing it before Scorpio. You know what
They
Scorpio's
think
going to
that.
do?
They think that.
No, well, I hope not. Otherwise, Reggie's even more delusional than everybody already thinks he is. So
His body is not prepared.
So this guy. So this console comes out with no virtual console, with less physical memory on board than my phone from 10 years ago. It comes out with controllers that are literally for toddlers, even in its dock
honestly,
state.
I have large hands, you know, not as large as your meat clubs, but even then, like, again, I've sat and held like their little controller handle thing with their controllers in them, and I played for 8 to 10 whatever hours in straight, and my hands have not hurt. They're actually surprisingly comfortable. So I'm gonna
not
give
worried
Nintendo
about it
props for it,
docked.
managing to get it down that small.
I'm worried about playing multiplayer, which a lot of people buy a Nintendo console not so they can play a bunch of single player shit. It's a bunch of people buying it because they can play games with their friends, because the Nintendo is one of the few console, or what's the only console really, that still has a lot of games that you can sit on your couch, get wasted, and play Mario Kart on. This is kind of how it is. So if you want to do that, what is the cost of one Joy-Con right now? How many children do you give up to them for that?
Stupid expensive. I think you have to give up at least Jeff's first 2 children.
At least, which Jeff probably would be okay with. I don't think he would mind, but we go deeper than that.
You can take
the Pro controller. If I'm not mistaken, costs more than an Xbox One controller. At least it does in Canada.
Yeah, but let's be real here, all right? Xbox just keeps coming out with more and more expensive controllers because they realize, we can sell these for lots of money.
But but they don't even. But they're not selling it for lots of money though. They have the Elite, which is expensive, and everyone else is just like the same price. It's just a fruitier
It's
color.
like $60 for.
Well, here's
so is the DualShock 4.
Guys, I here this is the way I'm going to close this, because I think there's 3 types of people for the Switch right now. Or 3 different mindsets of the Switch. We've got a guy like Tabin and myself. I just hadn't pulled the trigger on it, because if Mario Odyssey was out, I probably would own a Switch right now. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd probably own one.
Yeah.
I've got the disposable income. I can just go ahead and buy one. It's whatever. But I think there's guys like Tabin who enjoy it. It's great. He said his piece, what issues there are with it. But at the end of the day, he's having fun. You know, he played it for 15 hours one day, 14 hours.
That's what matters.
And that's what matters. Money well spent. I think that there are people out there that bought it, have enjoyed the hell of Zelda. I've heard that Zelda, it literally could be the best Zelda of all time. And from what I'm hearing from most people, it's better than Ocarina of Time. And when people are saying that, that love the game, I'm going, okay, well then maybe it does warrant a $400 price tag for those that are really into it. It's kind of like when Final Fantasy VII comes out
really
and they want to
Yeah,
throw
absolutely.
out 4 episodes and I got to pay $200 or $300 for all of them. Fuck it. I'm going to pay it because, you know, I love it. If it's going to make me happy, I'm going to get a lot of hours out of it. Then by all means, shut up and take my money. For me, I'm waiting for more. If a new version of the Nintendo Switch comes out or it gets announced, I'll definitely wait for that. If
Yeah, me
not,
too.
I'll pick it up when the games are that I'm actually going to play. And then there's also people that are saying absolutely not. This isn't a console. This is a handheld with console capabilities. Because let's face it, just like what Tabin said, the portable is great. The portable is great. It's awesome. You're not losing frames.
the
You
best
take it
feature
around.
it has.
It's the best feature. And guess what? Nintendo has always
works.
been the best at making portables. It's what they do. And they've been sucking ass with consoles since the N64. The Wii did sell extremely well, and it did have a lot of commercial success. But let's be honest, it was just a whole bunch of junk thrown at you. So really, they have done what they always do. They create an awesome handheld, but they create a lackluster system. And until they bring out a better one with better specs where you're playing the top titles and you're not getting 10, 15 frames a second, which is just ludicrous for a game like Zelda, and it's the big seller, and it's what I think it was almost 1-to-1 ratio. They sold the Switch for Zelda. Everybody's buying it because it's the only game you can play, and if you're losing all that stuff, then you know that's some fuckery shit.
I want to mention
Nintendo's-
one more thing, because I think this is probably more important than talking about memory and all this other stuff, you know, hardware wise, because there's a lot that comes with consoles now, and services and online functionality in the year 2017 are pretty important, right? I think we can all agree that that's a relatively
Nintendo
important
completely
piece.
dropped that ball.
So this is probably my most hated aspect of it, because I can put up with all the other stuff that we just discussed. You know, you can come up with some pretty good reasoning behind all of it, but the online functionality for the Switch is some of the most laughable shit that I've read about in forever. You know what? Panic already looks like he wants to talk about it, so I'm gonna let him talk about it. And if he misses something, I'll pick up where he left off.
Yeah, I'm super disappointed in what they did for online. For me, again, I thought about that before I pulled the trigger on it. And I was sitting there and I was just like, I don't really play consoles for the multiplayer online, so I think I'm okay. But if anyone is looking to get a Switch for that, they're gonna be really sad. I've always found Nintendo to be you're sitting in a room with a bunch of your friends and you all want to play on the same machine. That's what Nintendo's good at. That's their show. But when even during the announcement, I kind of raised an eyebrow. I was just like, oh, okay, that seems like a terrible idea for how you're implementing it. And the big thing is it's not even really implemented yet. They're saying fall 2017 or something. For like the full release, and you get
There's
it for
going to be
free
a beta
until
coming
then.
up because Splatoon is coming summer. Oh no, Splatoon is earlier than that. In fact, I think this weekend was a Splatoon weekend. Gabs was saying, or something like that. They were doing, or it was coming up. So, but the thing is, I mean, let's recap this. The online, or not recap, but explain it. The online, in case you guys didn't know, isn't on the console. It doesn't exist on the Switch. Nintendo has found a way to make online even more ridiculously convoluted and stupid than their friend code system. They've gone ahead and put their online on a link that is tied to an app that you use on your smartphone or your tablet or other smart device. So if you want to invite friends, you want to talk to friends, you want to start games, you want to do any of that stuff, you have to literally go off of the console that you're doing all this on to another smart, which is, by the way, the console that you're holding in your hand is basically a glorified cell phone without a fucking cell receiver on it.
I wonder if they do that because it can't. It just can't handle it. Maybe
It
there's
can't
just
handle a
not
menu?
enough.
I don't think
not enough going on.
I
don't know.
I don't think it's
the
that.
processor in
Well, then why
the
else would
processor
they
in
do
the
this? It's
Switch is
stupid.
better than a phone by
Because
a
they're
mile.
dumb. I don't know. Maybe they
that was
have
just
some
a
sort of
design
There must be
flaw.
some hidden
crazy-
agenda or something. Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe they've got some crazy fucking Nintendo idea that might work, or maybe it won't, but I can't come up with a reasonable reason as to why anybody would offload all online functionality to an app or something on a smart device that isn't the smart device you're holding in your hands already. It's crazy to me. And then to go further than that, they want to make you pay for that online service now. And if you pay for it to get the premium features like, you know, they do with the PS4 and Xbox One, you know, on the PS4 and Xbox One, you get like free games every month. And if you download it within that window, you just keep those games now. They're in your library. You have them forever. And they put out some pretty sick games on those services. And if I was more of a console gamer, I'd be in heaven because some of the stuff they put out is incredible, right? Nintendo was like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. But here's our version of it. The glorious Nippon Steel version of online console stuff. We're going to go ahead. We're going to only make it about the virtual console stuff, and we're going to give it to you to play for a month.
Nippon Foam.
And then we're going to take it away from you. And you don't get... So not only is it not like... Not only is it going to be like older retro-y games, but they're only going to be available to you for a short period, and then they just take it away from you and it's no longer attached to your account.
Rip.
Why?
Now again,
anyway,
we've been bashing on it, but I'm here's a surprising thing though. This is a surprising thing, and you know, again, this comes down to an area that Jeff and I are very interested in: money. And this is the big thing. I was surprised because Nintendo One is doubling up on production. They went instead of doing 8 million consoles, they've upped it to 16 million, which is part of the reason why they shut down production of the Wii U. But the interesting thing was GameStop and Best Buy both came out and said, we can't keep the console in stock. Every time we get a new shipment, it's gone within hours. Like, I think one of the GameStop directors was like, we had an entire block of stores that sold out within 2 hours of the shipment arriving. And but
GameStop gets like 6 consoles at a time.
No, they've increased it from the initial launch releases. They've been getting, 15, 20 per store, if not more. And they've just gone. Best Buy gets even more per shipment. And Nintendo's just I'm surprised by that. I'm surprised by that because I'm like, yeah, I know it's Nintendo and they kind of thrive on the initial low stock, hard to find, but usually within the first month it subsides, but they're still going strong. Like GameStop's like, it looks like it's going to be like this for the foreseeable, at least 6-7 months.
It probably will be
before stock gets under.
Still doesn't change the fact I'm not running out to buy one tomorrow.
Oh yeah, there's no.
It is what it is.
And to give my short rundown, there's no reason unless you're an absolute rabid Zelda fan to go out and buy a Switch right now. Yeah. Wait until Mario comes out. Wait until one of that killer title for you comes out. Wait and see. There might even be some kind of sale. I doubt it this year, but there's nothing right now to say unless you're going to play Zelda. Run out and buy this thing.
There will 110%. We have this on audio now. There will 110% be a $50 cut for holidays. I'm going to say that right now.
I don't think so.
With no fail. Think so. $50 cut. Without fail.
I'm going to bet you $50 in December that there will be no price cut.
Really? You don't think they're going to price cut on a console that is right now going on?
They're not going to price cut on the Switch.
I'm going to cut my wrists if I talk about the Switch for any longer. That's what I'm going to do.
Good news, Jeff. Good news, Jeff. Because we're going to move on to the next hot topic of the day. And that's Mass Effect Andromeda, which Panic is wearing the perfect N7 sweater for. So this is the I like to call Mass Effect Andromeda the Nintendo Switch of the gaming world this week, or the games this week, because it was super hyped because it's Mass Effect. Nobody expects Mass Effect to be anything less than at least above average minimum, and then it comes in and it's hot garbage for most reviewers. And the reason why I call it hot garbage is because if a reviewer gives something like Mass Effect, you have to think about this. Mass Effect is a game or a series that has a huge amount of weight behind it. Mm-hmm. It's one of the most loved franchises in modern gaming to this point. And so when a new one comes out, there is a predisposition to most reviewers to automatically say there is no way this can be lower than a 7, maybe not even lower than an 8. So when reviews start coming out and you're seeing 6s for Mass Effect Andromeda before release day, so not only is it Mass Effect Andromeda, but it's a pre-release review, you know something's fucked up. Like really bad.
I will fight you, but probably not with anything lethal. So, like maybe a pillow fight or something.
It's not. No, I'm not. When I say, now just because I'm saying it, I haven't played it yet myself, right? So I can't definitively say the game is truly hot garbage. But what I'm saying is, there has to be some merit to that when that thing happens, because when something like that happens, because a AAA title like Mass Effect, pre-release reviews from like a GameSpot and shit going south of 8 out of 10 is almost unheard of. Like, that's super fucking crazy. So as somebody here, one of the three of us that have actually played the game, what has been, because I've talked to several people that have played the game as well, so I have some more opinions on stuff that's been going on. What is your take on what you've played so far?
So the game itself, and for me, I'm really torn. I am a huge Mass Effect junkie, and this game hits all the notes for, like, when I'm playing it, when I'm hearing the dialogue, I'm watching it, and I'm like, this is 110% Mass Effect. Like, there's no doubt of what the game is, but at the same time, I'm like, there's just a lot of off notes on the game that just, I don't even want to say it's bad or good. Like, I don't have, like I've thought about it for a while because I knew I'd be doing this today, and I'm just like, I don't have an opinion on whether it's good or bad. I can only talk about specific pieces of it. The analogy I best came up with was, you have like this epic movie franchise, right? Mm-hmm. And you've developed it over years. You have massive loyal fan base, and everyone loves it. And that's Mass Effect 1 through 3. But now you've been approached and you need to make this, like, longer run, wider audience. Now you got to make this thing into a TV show, right? But you have to make that budget stretch over a much longer period of time. You need to make a much wider game. And some sacrifices have to happen. And that's kind of what I feel like this game is. This game has a ton of stuff to do. I've been
So are you saying that BioWare is the Marvel of the video game world?
I might say so, because again, like, the game's got just so much stuff going on, so much stuff to do. There's just a ton of stuff, and it actually, like, put together in a coherent way, so it doesn't feel like I'm doing random garbage all the time. There's some of those stupid, like, just go here, do this, whatever quests. But the game just feels like it has a lot of this stuff that you can go and do, and you are actually kind of exploring this new universe. But at the same time, it lacks that depth or the gravitas that Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 had. And I don't know. I don't know if I have a problem with that so far. Like, the things that have really gotten me that are annoying is, much like when you have to expand a movie franchise to TV shows, you kind of have to cut the production quality. So yeah, there have been definitely some times where I've been disconcerted where the animations are looking like, I think I had an entire conversation with an NPC where I was just, instead of listening to the dialogue, I was like, does this person have like a lazy eye and doesn't quite know where to look? Or am I just like positioned in the wrong way? And then some of the facial animations.
Which eye do I look at?
Yeah. Yeah. And then other parts of it, the facial animations just seemed weird, or the mouth wasn't moving properly, kind of like Ubisoft level of, we screwed up on animation.
Ooh.
And it's kind of problematic. And the dialogue definitely seems like it's a step below Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. But then I realized that there's just so much in the game. Everything, like a lot of almost all the dialogue is voice acted. Everything is animated. There's stuff moving around. So I kind of feel like they went a little bit more quantity than quality, a little bit too far. But again, I'm not sure I have a problem with that, because it all depends on kind of how, BioWare and EA go forward with it. Because the game has a lot of polish, aside from plot and story and characters, because characters are interesting, but I have stuff I don't want to spoil, so whatever. But the gameplay is actually really good. The skill system's completely opened up. The weapon system's completely opened up. You have stuff from all over. They've added a ton of new stuff. The crafting system is actually not terrible, like, compared to other Mass Effect games. It's one of the tighter crafting systems I've had, similar to kind of Dragon Age Inquisition. And the combat is actually really fluid and fun. Like the addition of the jetpack, I thought was going to be or jump jets or whatever, I thought was going to be a gimmick, but it plays really well. It's really fluid. It integrates really well. The cover system, again, games have really screwed up cover systems over the past couple of years, but it works pretty well in this game. I haven't gotten frustrated with it. I've been playing along. I've been enjoying it. Even the multiplayer is good. So from a gameplay perspective, I feel like they hit all the points on the design of the gameplay. And then the concept of the universe, again, they did really well. It's just kind of the execution on like the minutia of the, animation quality, some of the dialogue being a little campy or not as highbrow as, Mass Effect 1, 2, or 3.
Have you been having, you're on the PC, right?
Yeah, definitely on the PC.
Yeah, so you're on the PC. Have you been running into any like technical hitches outside of the? I think it's common knowledge now that the game looks like it was animated by somebody who was practicing messing around with like movie FX back in high school.
I think the Dragon Ball
so
Z
really
animation, the Dragon Ball Z animators might have been learning 3D design for this one. Dragon Ball Super, sorry.
So we all know that that's bad, but what have you hit any like major? Because I've heard various things. For example, I'll just give you some examples. People are complaining about quality of life issues where, for example, M on the keyboard opens up the map, but you can't press M to close it. You can't press escape to close it. You have to back cycle through all the menus. Same for the journal button. People are running around NPCs trying to find the magic pixel that you can press A to talk to them type shit. So have you run into any of that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I have a little bit of that. It's not, the magic pixel isn't as bad as everyone makes it out to be. You have to be standing in the 180-degree arc in front of the person. You don't run up to someone and talk to them from behind them. So you actually have to go to the side or to the front of them to do it. So it's not a magic pixel. I found that out very early. I actually didn't run into the M problem, but the one that really annoyed me, they added a scanner mechanic in the game, which is actually really cool and nice to have. They added a scanner mechanic, but you have to press the G button to bring it up, and then you can walk around kind of like Batman Arkham Asylum's like detective mode or whatever. But it's right next to the H key, and the H key brings up the menu. So literally, I'll be walking around, go to turn off the scanner, and now I'm in the menu. Or I'm trying to turn on the scanner, I'm like, damn it, I'm in the menu. And then I get annoyed because I have to hit escape to get out of the menu, and then I go to press G again, and since I'm an idiot, I press H again. So there'll be a couple of times I'll just get in that loop, and I'm just like, I am an idiot.
You're caught in a menu loop for eternity. You're just stuck in Mass Effect menu.
Yeah, so again, from the gameplay perspective, they hit the notes. I just wish there was a bit more polish. I've definitely run into a couple of bugs here and there where I go to a spawn and there isn't anyone there, so I have to like fast travel somewhere and then come back, and I'm like, that was just a waste of like a couple of minutes.
Have you run into any bugs where the side quests have hit points where you can't finish them? Because I've heard from a few people in the community that they've run into instances where they now have side quests that are they're incompletable. If that's even a word, I'm just going to roll with it. But you know what I mean. Like, have you hit that yet?
I don't think I've seen any that have gotten stuck. But here's the thing: there's like 1 billion side quests. I might not be exaggerating that number. Like Donald Trump level, huge amount of side quests. There's like, I'm walking around, I'm still finding them. Even on places that I thought I had finished, I'm like, oh, there's more quests. And it's stuff to do. The big problem, though, is there's definitely some triggers in the game where I'll be walking and there'll be like dialogue. I'm like, I already finished that quest or something random. And it's kind of like from a BioWare title. It's a little jarring because you don't expect them to have those polish problems or those QA problems. And that's where my big disappointment is. Again, I don't feel like it's not a done game.
So for those people who are going into Mass Effect Andromeda, let's say you're selling this to Jeff. Jeff, let's pretend that you're
don't sell this to me.
This is not Jeff's game.
Let's pretend that you were selling this to Jeff, who you would basically, it's like selling a condom to a nun at this point. It's pretty damn tough. Let's pretend you're selling it to Jeff. What makes up the best of Mass Effect Andromeda as a player? Because I'm interested to see how that compares to the series as it's been to this point. So I want to know from you what you think in as quick as you can be about it, the strongest points of this game if you're selling it.
It's the best combat gameplay in the entire series. That's the long and short of it. That
I'm not sold
compared to like third-person shooters.
I'm not sold.
Are you sure, Jeff? Are you sure?
There's no way I can sell you on this. There's no way I can sell you on this, man.
Well, Tabin, what I'm hearing, all right, I've been keeping my mouth shut here because we got to talk about two things that I give zero fucks about: the Nintendo Switch and Mass Effect.
I want to hear your fucks right now.
Don't give a fuck. And what I'm hearing from you, Tabin, is this: well, guys, it's a lesser quality of the last 3 Mass Effects. If the ratings are shit, people are saying the game is half-ass or shit, chances are it's shit, all right? To somebody that loves Mass Effect like you're going to enjoy it because it's the same lore. You're going to enjoy it because it's the same world. You're going to enjoy it because it's what you love. But I don't think they've done themselves any favors in getting anybody new going into Mass Effect that haven't played before on the simple fact of the bad press. And if I was going to get sold on something, I would have needed to know that this, Jeff, if you didn't play Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, you got to play this one. Because this one, it changes the game. But what I got from you is, you really like Civil War. You really like, the Avengers. Well, guess what?
This is not a game. This is not a game.
You get Iron Fist. Do you like it or not? That's what I've been getting out of this conversation. And I'm going to be honest with you.
That's exactly right.
Fist.
That's exactly right. Like I told you, you should have understood this when I said
it's unacceptable.
This is not a game. This is not a game for people who didn't like the first Mass Effects or weren't even interested. This is a game for fans, which I'm okay with. But honestly, yeah, it's not one of those games where I'm going to try to sell someone because I played this game and I didn't have an opinion on it for a while.
It sounds like it's your favorite TV show that you really love. And then the main actor decides that he's bigger than the show and he doesn't want to fucking do it anymore. And he's got fucking Hollywood calling his name, making $20 million a movie opposed to his $100,000 an episode. And so he leaves the show and you're like, well, I'm still going to watch it because I love the show. But guess what? The show is never the same. The show will go on until eventually it dies or it becomes a Halo where they're milking the tits out of it. And even some of the people that loved Mass Effect are coming out saying, I don't love this game. So I'm not hearing anything. Yeah. I'm out. That's it. That's my piece. That's it.
And you're out.
So as somebody, I'm going to wrap this up on my side. So as Jeff was just saying, if Panic's selling that to somebody who's a fan of the series, right? What Panic's saying makes it look like that's not even going to be a sale. So for myself, as somebody who loves the series, Mass Effect Andromeda puts me off exactly for the point that Tabin made when I asked him, what is the strongest point of Mass Effect Andromeda? If the first word that doesn't come out of your mouth is story, you've already fucking lost me, because Mass Effect is about characters and story. It is not about the fucking combat, no matter how hard they want to do it. It's cool that you strive for better combat, because obviously that's a pretty nice thing to have. But as an entire series based on conversations and story-driven character development and world building, not even world building, universe building.
This is going to kill the game. This is going to kill the game for you then. And when I say this, I've been playing this game for about 16 hours, and I still don't know which character I would like to bang in the game. I have no interest in any of them in that respect. I know it's unacceptable. It's a BioWare game.
If you already have a space waifu, it's fun.
Yeah, I know. I'm not interested in any of these characters.
We all know that Tali is the only space waifu anyway, so it doesn't matter.
They're well written, and I've definitely been laughing at the dialogue, but I'm like, I'm not that interested. Let's go do more stuff.
Well, you know what I'm interested in? I'm interested in a glass of fucking water right now, and I'm interested in selling out. But first, before we go to break, I'm going to let everybody know once again that Technical Alpha is available right now on iTunes. Go search it up. Go get on that bandwagon, because I know so many people put me on blast for not having iTunes set up before we even had a podcast, which was literally impossible, but I'm going to let that slide, because now we're on iTunes, and we're on Google Play Music, and we're on SoundCloud and everything. All of those links, everything on technicalalpha.audio. You can go and get all of that there. It's also linked through Patreon. If you're on YouTube watching this right now, everything, including the raw RSS link, is in the description below. So go and consume this podcast however you damn well please. Gentlemen, we are going to go to break. When we come back, we're getting into stuff that Jeff does give a fuck about. We're going to start it off with some movie talk. It's movie talk coming up now. We're going to be talking about John Wick 2. We're going to be talking about the Matrix reboot and how that's fucked up right when we come back. But before we do, got to sell out first, guys. So sit tight. We will return. Hey guys, if you're enjoying Technical Alpha and are interested in supporting us, do I have a solution for you? We've set up this Patreon page to help us help you, help us and you. We've got a list of options that would make a used car salesman cry that provide you with a range of goodies for your support. Head on over to patreon.com/technicalalpha to see what's up for grabs. Like fancy badges and stuff? Subscribe to us on Twitch to get access to, well, badges and stuff. Not big on ladies and gentlemen. Sorry for that double audio. That didn't happen in testing. I have OBS Studio set for monitoring so I can actually hear the advertisement myself and know when it ends. But apparently, the boys at OBS don't understand what the word monitoring means. And so they're sending the monitor also through to you guys, which is a little strange. Maybe they're relying on me to send it through a different output. I don't know. But you got double me for a bit. And then on top of that, it didn't want to rewind after we switched to the screen. So, everything just catches on fire.
So with that being said, guys, head on over to our Patreon and go throw money at the screen. We currently have 254 Patreons, which is pretty incredible. Let's hit that 260 by the end of this this stream here. How does that sound for sellouts if we couldn't get it in? The ones listening to this in audio form is going to get the double sellout right now.
The double.
If you're listening to this on audio right now, make sure you give us that 5-star rating on iTunes and go follow us on iTunes. 5-star ratings, 5-star ratings. Go, 5-star ratings.
Shameless.
We're just going to have to start
shameless.
to give Adam to give me the floor when it comes to the shamelessly selling out part, all right?
Yeah, of course.
I don't hold back. I don't hold back.
Who else are we supposed to rely on but you for the shameless advertising? Really? I mean, you were the master.
You're the hype man.
You're the master of the PIR.
Man.
You're the king of Cena. You even have a damn cutout behind you. It's kind of creepy. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. After that little breakerino, we are now going to talk about things that Jeff wants to talk about. So if you didn't hear enough Jeff in the first half, boy, do I have good news for you. We're going to hop right into some movie talk. We were discussing what we were going to actually choose to talk about this week for movies. We rolled around some ideas, and excuse me, what we landed on was John Wick 2, mostly because John Wick 2 is fucking awesome. And we've all seen it.
Up, but my light ruins it.
Yeah, like kind of messing with that poor poster, but it's it's been out for a while. We can talk about it. We can talk around things as best we can for you guys. But please be warned, you might catch something you consider would be a spoiler whenever we talk about movies, but we do our best to talk around it. But Mr. Black, I'm gonna give you the floor.
Well,
this.
I'm not gonna spoil anything. So
no. But what I'm saying is, one of the three of us might accidentally the whole thing. When we're just talking about the movie, it can happen. So I'm just saying there's a chance, but we're going to do our very best that you don't get any kind of spoilers. But Mr. Black, John Wick 2, we all agree, fantastic movie, better than the first one, which is a feat because the first one was pretty damn good in its own respect. And Keanu, who is now 187 years old, just seems to be forever 19 and doing some of the sickest action stuff I've seen in a good long time. What was your take on John Wick 2?
I thought it was great. It's my second favorite movie of the third favorite movie of the year. There's been some really good movies that came out this year. But I'm not going to get into those. It's up there, and it's actually been one of my favorite movies in quite some time. Not even just of this year. I just think John Wick 2 was everything that you want a sequel to be. When you watch a movie, we are going to talk about The Matrix here soon, just to keep it into the Keanu theme of things. But the first Matrix came out, and it was an incredible film. Matrix Reloaded came out, and although it was serviceable, it was not as good as the first movie. I think universally everybody will agree. But here, this was just great. It was just a great continuation of the story, and that's what I love so much about this. It wasn't, the gun fu they call it. That stuff was great. It even got more intense, all kinds of headshots. It was amazing. But what really did it for me was the fact that they really dug into the story. They dug into the gold coins and more on what they're used and the safe haven hotels and all that. We got to see some new assassins and some backstory on those assassins, and we got little pieces of that in the first film. And when the first film came out, I was like, oh my God, this could be an amazing trilogy. if they do it right and they get more into the lure of everything, the story, because, you know what, great action's great. You know, you can watch a movie like En Bach, and you can watch a movie like The Protector and The Raid 2. You can watch these great action films, and they're amazing. I was
keep going, Tony Jaa. You're 2 for 2. I was like, well, how many more Tony Jaa movies can you drop?
The reason why I say those is because typically in those films, the stories are garbage. I think in En Bach, it's like about an elephant and fucking just some really weird dumb shit. But to be fair,
where that movie was made, that's not weird dumb shit. Elephants are like fucking gods.
Well,
so it was,
I understand that, but the
sense.
point is I'm trying to make here is it wasn't an action film with just a set piece after set piece after set piece. They really made some story here. They added to the character. There was a good reason why he was coming back into this line of work, so to speak. It wasn't just kind of he's gonna unretire because we need a second movie and that was it, right? It wasn't Taken.
It wasn't Taken thing. It was like, how many family members do you have left that we can take from you?
Exactly.
They expanded the lore just so much without actually having to make it gimmicky, and I was surprised. Even in the first one, they just I was expecting to just be Keanu Reeves shooting people and killing people, but I was surprised. I'm like, oh wow, they thought about this a lot without actually having to put a lot of effort into the demonstrating it on screen. Yeah. But then the second one was even further. They just exploded the whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely, and I loved it. In fact, I'm going to be honest with you. I almost want the franchise to stop. I almost want it to end, and that's going to sound really weird because without spoiling anything, they most certainly open it up for a franchise. I mean, it's obvious what they want to do with this franchise. The reason why I say that is because I feel like if and when a third one happens, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Well, yeah, of course. At least a third,
I'm nervous because I feel like this one here got the gun fu shit, all that. It was great. But I will say, towards the end of the movie, it did get a little stupid. There were some things at the very end of the movie where I was like, it's the movie never has taken itself all that serious. You know, it has some serious tones to it, but it knows exactly what it is. Sometimes you get an action movie that is, super serious in terms of tone, but yet some of the things are just so outrageous. It just takes you out of it. You're like, what the hell? And then you've got some other movies like Triple X, where it's just stupid, but it knows it's stupid, or how the Fast and the Furious franchise started making movies that isn't about racing cars anymore. It's more of a heist thing, but it knows what it is. You've got The Rock, you got Jason Statham. They're doing their shticks. The Rock is giving the Rock bottoms and people elbows in the movie. It knows what it is. And John Wick knows what it is. But towards the end of the movie, there are some things that were happening, and I was kind of taken out of it a little bit, going, you can push some things on me, but some things I was like, I'm not really for that. And just because the way it ended and the direction that it was going, I was like, I am scared for the third one, because if they don't expand more on the character and really sum up this story, then I feel like we can get a Matrix on our hands, and we'll talk about the Matrix. Yeah. But it's weird, man, because usually a movie gets worse, and then you're like, well, fuck this, I don't want to see a third. A third comes out, and you're like, well, I'm going to go see it because I'm invested. Here, the first one was great, the second one was even better, and now I'm scared because I don't want this good thing to go to waste.
It's a good problem to have.
I feel like they can do one more movie. I think they can do one more movie.
I know they can. I'm just nervous about it because
I feel like they can do it well. One more movie.
If they go in, the thing is I don't think it's going to do it for me if they go in and they rehash another John Wick 2. I think they need to step it up again. But I think if they step it up again, what more can they do in terms of the action's fine, but in terms of the story and even elevating the action, because the action does get a little monotonous after a while. It does become repetitive. There are some cool set pieces and stuff like that that add to the fight scenes.
It's tiring to watch.
Thank you. That's exactly what I was going with. It's very tiring. It's not Transformers tiring, but it's most certainly, it gets to you. And I think if the third one came out, they may feel an urgency to really throw more of it at you and just shove it down your throat and say, you love John Wick and that we're giving you what you love. And at the same time, I want that, but I don't want it overdone. I don't want it to be a joke of itself. I want the quality to stay, and I don't know how they make it better. And that's, like Adam said, it's a good problem to have. When I can't think of it getting any better, I'm just like, I'm ready to call it quits. But at the same time, I don't want to call it quits because I want to know what happens,
I feel like they should give it like the one more movie, give us those awesome set pieces, but like focus on kind of wrapping up the plot for at least the John Wick character. I mean, I know it's not going to happen. We're probably going to get like John Wick 12 when Keanu Reeves is like 100 years old and still looks exactly the same. So we'll see where that goes.
Yeah.
I feel like they should call the third movie, though, World War Wick.
Ooh. Oh, God.
World War Wick.
World War Wick.
Yeah.
No, I think... I mean, my take on John Wick 2 is, and the John Wick series in general is, I think it's a pretty important film, specifically because for what Jeff was talking about, where, or not even a film, but a franchise now, because where Jeff was talking about how it's not just a bunch of set pieces for an hour and 45 minutes. Where you get, Tony Jaa going up a 47-story building and breaking 176 kneecaps on the way up to the top. It's not what it is. It has a story. It has lore. It has a world-building aspect to it. And not only does it have that, but it's done really damn well. And it's not ham-fisting, punching you in the face with exposition. Yeah. It's doing it underhandedly. It's feeding it in passively. It's not in your face about it. You see it when John. The most obvious example is wherever John goes, everybody knows who John Wick is. The mailman knows him. The fucking cops know him. The fireman, the deli dude, the fucking homeless bum on the street. Everybody knows John Wick. Other assassins obviously know who John Wick is as a person, and the wide berth that everybody gives the man, because he's the dude who talks soft and carries a big ass stick, is John Wick. He barely has to do anything, and everybody's like, "Please God, don't tell me John Wick is coming after me." And there's, I wish I could spoil, because there's some really awesome stuff they did in the second movie that even elevated that style of letting you know who John Wick is. In it,
but there's more.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, without spoiling, like the first movie raises a lot of questions on like the universe and the lore.
Yeah,
and again builds up this legend of John Wick. The second movie, like again, you had a lot of questions after the first movie, like what does it mean to be an assassin's world? But this movie kind of takes you through the journey with John of being an assassin in the world. But again, like Adam said, it's not beating you in the face with the details. It's kind of like you're like the passive observer kind of following along, and you're seeing what's happening without them saying, oh, this is what's going on. And it answers all of these questions. Like I was watching it afterwards and I'm like, oh, wow, that's actually pretty cool how they came around and how that happens for, a very set piece of what it's like to be an assassin in the John Wick universe, which is really freaking cool in my opinion.
The expanded thing for me there beyond the storytelling is, and why I also find it an important series, is that think of how many action movies exist, period. I'm not even going to put a timeline on it, just period, that have had a main, like a star of the film, be able to be so committed to their role and learning all of this stuff that they can just literally go out and wide angle shot every fucking action scene. There's none of these fast, shaky, fucking Tourette syndrome scenes. It's not Liam Neeson jumping a fence in 26 cuts. It's literally just it's Keanu Reeves in a wide cut in like 2 takes. I watched a podcast where the guys were interviewed about, I can't remember which podcast it was off the top of my head, and they said one of the things was how many takes for a lot of these, things, because they're all wide angle. You don't do a wide shot 1,000 times. You're going to be there until, the end of eternity. And they said, honestly, Keanu is so damn good, we'd do like 2 takes. Everybody would be there. They'd be practiced. They'd be rehearsed. It would work. He'd go in. He'd smash it. 10 out of 10, 11 out of 10 on to the next scene, and it'd be over.
There's a scene in the movie he filmed with 104 fever where he learned the choreography for the scene day of. Like he's trained so hard with the weapons and the martial arts and all of it that he walked in that morning. He had 104 fever and he went over with the guy and then they filmed it.
So I think it's important because it shows that it's possible to not have to lean on as an action movie. You can be we all know Keanu Reeves isn't like some thespian god. We know he's not some sort of like Oscar-nominated genius of an actor in terms of his actual acting chops, though I think the roles he does well. I think it's important, though, in that he shows that you don't have to then just become a muscle-bound whatever dude that power bombs people through concrete. You can do this kind of stuff and really change how the genre is, because how many movies do you think are going to try and come up and be John Wick now that's been so popular? How much gun fu do you think we're going to fucking see now? That's going to be a term that people use in movies now. Think of when we go into the Matrix.
Too.
Yeah, how many people used bullet time shit after the Matrix came out, and it was just and it became another gimmick. People are going to try and do this wide angle, one take, super I would call it hyper realism in the action scenes in this movie.
Well, I think what they
Daredevil did
is,
it too, yeah.
And it's nothing that's new. I think they
just
brought
done better
on
than everything.
They brought on not a lot of movies have done this in North America. There's been a lot of foreign films that have had this type of intensity, this gritty action type thing. That just really wasn't Americanized, and they even said when they were doing the gun fu is, technically when he's doing his shooting and stuff, shooting just not because he does a lot of this. Like when he shoots, he moves forward with his guns, like his whole body just kind of like that. And technically, that wouldn't actually make you a better shooter. It would fuck with your aim.
No, of course
but
not.
They do that on purpose.
Camera, you have to look.
They do that on purpose to bring a new flavor to using guns, and he uses guns in a way like he would use his body. Like if he were to be punching and kicking people, there's something artistic about what he does that really adds
some
the
power
action
to it.
Yeah, and that's what's really great. So. In all, if you guys haven't watched John Wick, the first one, you should definitely watch the first one before you watch the second one. That's one thing that I really loved about the first one is how smart the film was. It was like it knew what it was, but at the same time, for real movie buffs like myself, they threw a lot of little things in there where I'm going, oh my God, okay, whoa. It got you thinking. Like, I remember when I left the theater, I was like, and when I gave the movie a rating, I think out of 10, I gave it an 8 out of 10 when I first saw it. And then when I rewatched it, it kind of went up to about a 9. And then when I saw John Wick 2, I'm still at like a 9, closer to a 10 in terms of what it is. Is it a perfect movie? No. But it knows what it is, and it does it well. I absolutely love John Wick. I'm scared for the third one, but it'll take my money, and... I have faith. I really do. If they come out with another one, hopefully it'll tie up, and that'll be the show.
Here's our segue to stay on with what we've got going right now. Here's our segue. Is I think it's particularly telling that John Wick is a good series, particularly for Keanu himself. When for the last however many years now, the internet has referred to Keanu as Neo, and now he is no longer Neo. Everyone refers to Keanu Reeves as John Wick, and that's when you replace
that's great.
Neo from the Matrix. That's a pretty big leap. So I think that's pretty telling about the series in general. Speaking of the Matrix,
oh,
I'm sorry, Panic.
I'm scared
Speaking of
about
the Matrix, we're getting a reboot of the Matrix,
and not for sure. It's not for sure.
Not for sure, but it's being the fact that it's even on a table somewhere, like somebody has had like something in their hands that says we think it might be a good idea to redo the Matrix or reboot it or extend it or whatever the fuck adjectives they're going to put on the front of that. What so I don't know all that much about it. I just know that I think it's crazy because it hasn't even been 20 years yet. What do you guys think about that? We'll start with Jeff.
So yeah, for one, for those that don't know, Matrix is one of the greatest trilogies of all time. Depending on who you ask. I mean, it's one of the most influential. It's one of the most influential franchises in movie history, simply
At least
because
the first movie.
Yes, and most certainly the first, but I think even the second and the third just kind of all together.
Yeah, I agree.
And without getting into all three films, because we're going to keep this talking about a potential reboot. It's a very beloved franchise, and it's a beloved franchise because in its time it was just wow. You went to the theater and you've never seen a bullet in slow motion and coming at you, and you're and watching Neo. I think it was in the second one where he puts his hand out, and all the bullets.
It's at the very, it's like towards the very end of the first one where he stops it and then he jumps.
Yes,
into
okay,
Agent
so he does
Smith
it.
and
I think he
wrecks
does
his
it.
life.
Yeah, I think he does it twice. So the first one he does it, but in the second one where he's got the glasses on and there's a bajillion bullets in front of him, he just stops them all.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just seeing things like that, the whole whoa, and I mean, there's even that thing where what's her face is up in the air and she's doing the whole
that 360 camera shit.
The 360
that was
camera.
The first time that was ever done, to my knowledge, wasn't it?
It was the first time, and so everybody started doing it. I mean, everybody started doing it. Even like in sports, they started doing it. You'd watch sports replays, and you'd see slow motion like camera. It was just the thing, and it still is today. So when I think of it, I go, well, I'm going to be I know where Adam's going with this. Adam's going to be like, I don't want to see the Matrix rebooted. I kind of do, and I'm going to say this for one. The Matrix reboot isn't actually going to be a reboot of The Matrix. They're going to be doing a prequel to The Matrix, and they're trying to get Michael B. Jordan to play Morpheus, and they want to reboot the franchise, but start with a prequel and then go from there. Now, I'm okay with this. I'm okay because I would actually like to know a lot about Morpheus. Morpheus was a character that we never really knew a whole lot about.
Is a god.
He is a god, although he hasn't really done anything that relevant since The Matrix. Almost all of
No, he's just gone back to his African roots now. He just walks around in African garb, and he bees Lawrence Fishburne for a.
And his daughter, I do believe, was getting smashed by Lexington Steele. I think his daughter did porn, and he was really salty about it. Oh yeah. You look that up.
Unfortunate. Very
unfortunate, because that's a huge dick. And he was really upset about that too. But the thing that I like about this idea is if we get somebody like Michael B. Jordan to play Morpheus, he's a great actor. I think he'd do a great job. I am totally fine because let's be real, Matrix Reloaded and most certainly Matrix Revolution was it was garbage. It was garbage. And kind of like how Tabin is with Mass Effect, it was garbage that I could watch. It was like watching a lesser version of what I loved, and I still enjoyed it because I loved the characters. I loved the whole Matrix and being the one and going in these different places. But man, oh man, and the reason why they were a fucking mess was because of the Wachowski siblings. Now we don't call them brothers anymore because one of them has transitioned, or
didn't they
both
like
now?
What?
They both did.
They both did.
Now they're the sisters, so they went from the Wachowski brothers to the Wachowski sisters. Yeah,
they both
shit got real.
All right, so because the Wachowski sisters made just the most convoluted, over the top scripts. They're not very good. They're not good screenwriters. They just don't know. It's like their whole career, and we can talk about this on another podcast, but they have been shitting the bed royally since The Matrix. They haven't gotten it right since then, and I don't know what happened
There are
if they're
Shyamalan
creative.
levels.
Exactly. It's literally. Although Shyamalan is making a huge comeback, but
he came back, but still.
but they just haven't made good movies since. And I think with the right directors, the right screenplay, and the right actors, I think we could get an even better version of the Matrix Reloaded and Revolution, because I think the original Matrix, you ain't fucking with that.
No,
you ain't
well,
fucking with that ever.
That was my thing. I didn't know that they were going in the prequel route direction or anything of that nature. My thing is I agree that the second and third movies, I think it's universally understood that they weren't good movies. They were movies that I can sit down and watch with a bag of, I call them popcorn movies. You know, you can sit down with a bag of popcorn, you can watch them. You're not going to want to kill yourself at the end of it, but it wasn't like the first Matrix where it had so much more than just action, where the next two movies were just action, and then there were like one really long scene with some white dude talking philosophically for 45 minutes in a weird TV studio. Like, you know,
that
just
was
really
just
odd shit what happened in there. And you could tell like Tabin said, he's cyber Jesus. Now, to be fair, you know, the Jesus complex stuff has been played on in movies once every 5.5 minutes since the dawn of time. It's not like it's a concept that isn't, you know, messed with every now and then. And it not only that, but it's not like movies that use the Jesus complex or the Jesus storyline, the biblical storyline, don't do well. There are movies that are done very well based around that. But the first movie, I don't think you want to touch the first movie personally.
First movie's gotta stay as is. Like
it's gonna be touched, but yeah, it just depends on how they touch it, right? But it sucks.
Yeah, like I'm not saying that there isn't a chance that they can do a really good job by the Matrix. I just think that the second and third movies notwithstanding, or taken out of the picture, I should say, the first Matrix to get a redo before 20 years has even rolled around is a couple of things to me. One, it's completely insane to me that they're even thinking about it. Prequel, whatever, but to move into a redo of the first Matrix seems a little crazy to me. And two, this might be the most primo example of Hollywood fucking going back into the cookie jar for everything. If you're going back in for
they need to
Matrix,
stop recycling shit.
And we're not even into another generation of human fucking beings yet, and we're already going back into the Matrix? Are you serious? Like, I was okay with stuff like Mad Max, because that's like 80s. We're going deep.
Well, the problem
the Matrix was the dawn of the century.
The problem is a lot of these studios, they have given solo films, like new properties, new IPs, a chance.
They don't make money.
They don't make money. And so they have to go back and they have to take a franchise that already has a name. We've seen it. I mean, I could sit here and talk and list off pretty much every movie that comes out. I think almost
the sequel.
There's sequels. Yeah. There's prequels. There's reboots. There's reboots of reboots. I mean, how many times have we seen Spider-Man origin story? How many times have we? I mean, it just happens over and over and over again.
Fantastic Four.
It has happened over and over and over again, and it's okay for that to happen if they can improve on it, and this is one of those times where I actually think that the Matrix is such a good premise, and they could do so much with the world of Matrix, like literally anything. And now the movie-going experience is just CGI porn, and although the CGI back then was
do the machines taking over.
They could do so much with it. I mean, there was the real world outside of the Matrix, and then there was in the Matrix. There is so much you could do. So I am curious to see where they go with it. Are they going to try? I know if they're talking about the prequel, but after the prequel, are they going to then skip ahead? Could this be after Neo? Are they going to try and replace a Neo? Are they going to do completely new characters within the Matrix? I mean, there's a lot of ways that they go. The world and universe.
They could do like a Dawn of Zion. They could do like the start of the city underground type stuff.
I think that's where they're going to go. And I personally think is when they do these prequels and they go into it, what I'd like to see is they continue on after the Matrix with some new characters, and then they could either have Keanu Reeves show up in the movie.
So Star Wars it.
I mean, he looks
Star
exactly
Wars
the
it,
same
and just
age
kinda,
as he did in 1999. So
and just kind of pass the torch. You know, I don't think that would be a bad thing. But
doing what they're doing with Star
I'm
Wars,
giving,
for sure. Yeah.
To end this part, I'm gonna give it a thumbs up. I feel like if they start with the prequel and they do it right, I'm okay with that. I'd love to know more about Morpheus. There are definitely worse things that I've seen that's been rebooted, but the way I look at it is if they redo the franchise and they reboot it and they copy each movie, or they have to change 2 and 1 or 2 and 3, that I'm okay if they don't make the first Matrix as good, because I feel as though they can only go up from Matrix 2 and Matrix 3, and I think we're going to get a more
during Matrix
coherent.
3
Matrix 3 was just
It
was
literally
stupid.
IMAX.
But
I fell asleep.
I'm for it. I'm for it. I don't want to see it tomorrow. I want them to take their time, but I'd have to learn more about the who's directing it, who's writing it, who's starring in it before I'd get really excited about it. But I like Matrix.
Yeah,
I'm not excited.
I'm gonna toss something out before we move on to our next topic. I'm gonna toss something out just as an idea because it's also been a kind of a thing that's happening more and more. What if you took the Matrix, gave it to the DC guys, and made them do TV? How does that work?
Doesn't fit. Not one bit. Like the DC
I'm not.
TV is very campy.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Matrix
I'm not
wouldn't fit in there,
sure.
so.
I feel like the Matrix really is about that movie going experience. Big money, big CGI, big budget, big everything. I think if you take something as big as the Matrix and you make it this smaller version, it works for things like, say, Logan, where you can really focus on a story and really drive it that way. But I think the Matrix it's all about scale. It's all about this wonder and vast, just huge. I think if we got the only thing I want to see come to a TV series that we haven't seen yet, the only thing I want to see that I think would be perfect and the best television up like Game of Thrones good. I'm going that.
Easy there, kid. Oh, easy
you
there.
know,
killer.
you know who could make.
Slow your roll, bro.
You know who can make Game of Thrones good? Who can make Breaking Bad good? Who can make fucking whatever other great show good?
Jerry Bruckheimer.
Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino would.
No.
Quentin
Not at
Tarantino
all.
would
Not at
make
all.
the most epic series known to man. In fact, we're next week. We're talking about Quentin Tarantino and his films, and just the movies that he makes, the screenwriting that he makes, his storytelling would be perfect for television. Perfect for a series. Perfect.
Now let me say this before we move on. I like Quentin Tarantino, but unless the TV series was like a 10 episode special, like
The Hateful Eight.
That's
a true detective, and then
100%.
leave it fucking die.
Yeah,
then
different
I'm okay
stories.
With that.
Quentin Tarantino making
Then
a series,
yeah, because you can't stretch Tarantino too long on like one arc because it won't work.
Everything that Quentin Tarantino has done has been a little too long for movies, and and a lot of people that see Quentin Tarantino movies, it's either you love his style or you're not a big fan of his movies because they do feel like they drag, but he's always character driven. The dialogue is just so fucking good, and he could just make killer HBO shows or Netflix series. We're gonna talk about it, and I've got
Okay.
this is not a debate you win.
By we, tune in next week when Jeff talks about his favorite white man, Quentin Tarantino, for a half
I love
hour.
Tarantino, but I completely disagree with Jeff right now. I
we'll
love
see.
Tarantino.
Well, we can
I
talk
completely
about
disagree
that.
with him.
We can talk about
we gonna
that.
talk about it.
I'm
gonna
gonna
talk
drink
about it.
I'm gonna
Go
drink
get
a
it.
really stiff rum and coke next week and let these two battle it out. But we've got other things to talk about, like more going back to the cookie jar. We're gonna talk about Brood War HD. We're going to talk about Blizzard going back to the honeypot again, which I don't think everybody has a problem with this one. People have been kind of hoping for a Brood War HD, and by some people I mean probably just the people that were Brood War fans, and then were disappointed with StarCraft 2's direction. We have to be careful, gentlemen. Let's not go deep down the StarCraft 2 rabbit hole. Let's stick to Brood War HD and what we think we know about it and what we think is going to happen with it, what we might like to see, and go from there. Personally, I'm on that board where I think that Brood War, if Brood War had happened in the year 2010, is a better game than StarCraft 2. For a number of reasons, of which we'll probably talk about when we have a much longer form discussion about StarCraft 2 in the future. But I was really hoping that if they're going to do Brood War HD, that they do multiplayer and do it properly and allow the people that have been kind of pining for that multiplayer experience to really get into it, and don't balance the fucking game. Don't touch it. Is Kim still there right now? Who's in charge of balancing right now?
Yeah,
is he still there?
in charge?
Oh yeah,
Kimberly, are you listening to me right now? Kimberly, probably not. But hey, Kimberly, don't even think about it. Don't try and redo Dragoons being able to walk a straight line like they're not hammered off of a 40.
Hey, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Yeah, if they fix that.
Maybe.
I'm okay with that.
But here's the thing. I don't want the foot in the door to happen. I don't want people to go, okay, can we get Dragoons to be slightly less stupid? And then go, okay, but we can also do this. And we can also do this. And that. And then all of a sudden, it's no longer Brood War. It's StarCraft 2 with a Brood War skin, and that's not cool.
Well, I'm going to be... Yeah, keep going, dude. Let it all out.
But yeah, no, I'm excited that it exists. I'm actually kind of surprised it's even happening, to be completely honest with you. I didn't think it was going to happen, so the fact that it is happening is great news.
I feel like they need to show StarCraft is a good property. That's why they're doing it.
It's entirely possible. This might be like the Panacea, where they're like, sorry guys, we fucked it. Here's something you like, and give us StarCraft Brood War HD.
I love Brood War and I love StarCraft, but I'm like, when I heard Brood War HD, I actually was just like, I'm actually disappointed. I don't feel like they're going to do it correctly, and I don't feel like it's going to be done well. Like, I know it's Blizzard and everything, but for some reason I have this gut feeling that it's not going to live up to any sort of hype. It's one of those things that everyone internally has mentally hyped up, but I don't think it's going to translate well.
Interesting. I have to disagree. I mean, I think
okay.
I think there will be hype for it, but I think where a lot of people have said, Legacy of the Void is going to save StarCraft 2. Heart of the Swarm is going to save StarCraft 2. This certain patch or this nerf is going to save StarCraft 2, or this WCS is going to save Star. I mean, how many are going to save StarCraft 2 stories have we heard?
Yeah, Brood War HD.
I actually think that if Blizzard plays their cards right, which is a huge, there has to be an eclipse that happens once every 78.5 years on the 4th month of the 23rd day at the 6 hour and 27-minute mark in, where they have a shot.
Let's be honest. They double down on a 7. They're not well known for their card play. So it's just
they're playing dangerously right now.
I feel like if they come out with an HD StarCraft, and we still don't know for sure if the game is going to be ranked and competitive.
Yeah.
At least from my knowledge,
use map settings.
If there's something different, somebody can link it in the chat. I'll take a look at it. But what I'm concerned about is that they're going to drop the game. It's going to be the single player campaign, and they're going to have a like a custom games, like a BattleNet, where you can play all those old school games and shit that we used to like, and maybe even play on a custom against somebody else, but there'll be no real competitive ladder, no bronze to grandmasters, no top 200, no tournaments or all that stuff. I feel like they're going to package this up because EA. I think they're going to package this up. They're going to put a $40 price tag on it. They're going to say, "Go play your old school Brood War."
You mean Activision?
Or Activision. What did I say?
EA, Blizzard.
Yeah.
Sorry, Activision. Same fucking thing. Activision. I just feel like we're going to get a single player. Now, if they come out on the other side, and this is why I don't think it's going to happen, but then again, it might happen, because maybe, just maybe now, finally, they have realized where StarCraft 2 is and that it doesn't have a bright future. And with that, they just may do something that I thought Blizzard would never do, and that is purposely destroy one of their games. Because they have had a long track record of basically keeping games on death row for the longest time. And if they just bring out Brood War and package it like StarCraft 2 in terms of tournaments, ranking, everything, the old school BattleNet, it all, and they say, go have fun, how many old pros would come back and play that game? How many casters like myself and Adam would come back to cast that game? How many streamers would come back to stream that game? And even if it was only popular for a year or 2 years, it would give this much needed pickup of spirits. Maybe it would gather the community together again. Maybe we would be able to make something of it that could last a long time. Or maybe we'll just be able to relive our childhoods again in an updated version, and you can't go wrong with that either. But the thing is they do it that way, they will kill StarCraft 2 because the people will jump.
It's going to be over.
It will be done. It's like them admitting they fucked up, and now they're going to give what they should have given all along, and that's a proper StarCraft 2 game, or a proper StarCraft game. We don't want to see starting with 10 probes. We don't want to see highlighting 200 units. We don't want to see what we got in StarCraft 2. We want Brood War, but we want it in a better skin. And if you have to make minor tweaks, very minor tweaks, I'm okay with that. But the moment you start changing it so that it becomes not Brood War, then they may as well call it StarCraft 3 and not call it Brood War. So I think if they do it that way, we will be in for a treat. I would be so excited. I would be grateful, thankful. I would throw my money at them. I would continue to support and cast and promote. It would be an amazing thing for esports. And I think a lot of old school Brood War players that are still playing would jump over to the new one, and great things would happen. So that's my look at it. And I'm just trying to stay as optimistic as possible, but I've learned not to give my hopes up when it comes to Blizzard.
Optimistic.
Yeah.
It sounds like your hopes are already up.
Yeah, no, I agree. In a perfect world, we basically get what people wanted from like the Final Fantasy VII remake. It was, guys, don't fucking touch anything. Just give it a fresh coat of paint. That's all we're asking for, is a fresh coat of paint. Don't re-sand it, chisel out an old piece to plug it and sand back over it and fill it and paint it again. Just stick to the paint part. It's all we want.
Paint.
That's not going to happen.
You know, you can make a part of your house look so much fresher with just some paint.
Just a coat of paint.
You walk into it, dude. How many times have I walked into a house?
Yeah.
And the real estate agent is like, listen, I know what it looks like right now, but if you just put a fresh coat of paint on this bitch, this is going to look like a totally different space. Something lighter, make the room feel bigger.
At the same
just
token,
get rid of the furniture.
How many places do you walk in that are selling that already repaint the house for showings?
That's
the same. Okay, so you don't have to go all crazy with it. But in a perfect world, we get Brood War redone HD. We keep as much of the core game as humanly possible, with the confines that we have to accept come with switching to a new engine, which there are obviously hurdles that are involved there. We get a BattleNet that is apparently no longer labeled BattleNet, that is actually functional and not
Blizzard
just
app.
Kerrigan breathing heavily in a 15-frame animation loop. Wait, switch it up. Now we're Tassadar. Quick, Richard Simmons. I actually don't know what that would be. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like 3/4 of the screen is just animation loop. And it's like, hell, let's have the shittiest chat room, forum type looking thing ever conceived. I could put that up against anything. I don't think I've used a shittier fucking chat system than the current day BattleNet. It's so fucking bad. I can remember the last time Jeff and I did a NovaWar Says thing, and we had to rely on whispering to people and talking to people and use the chat heavily. And Jeff almost had 87 aneurysms.
Whoa.
I know it's
you're triggering me. One sec.
Non flashbacks.
You wanna know? You wanna know what would sell me on Brood War while Jeff has a little episode? It's never gonna happen. Never gonna happen.
I know, but let me continue my dream.
I want them. If we can convert, if we can get all the use map settings maps just converted somehow magically, not gonna happen. But bring back the magic.
You can't bring back the magic if you fuck with it. You know what the magic is? Getting into a fucking room on BattleNet, telling people they're scrubs, going into a game server list. We don't have that in StarCraft 2 yet. How do we not have that yet?
That's what I'm saying. Bring back the magic.
Is it that with custom maps and all this extracurricular activity shit, and just be able to go out and play custom games, that we can't do what we did in 1998? And fucking go to a server list, a game list.
3v5
How crazy
comp
is that?
stomp. No noobs. Fastest map ever.
How fucking crazy is that? You want to whisper somebody and like have it all going. It like quad stacks fucking tabs and shit, and you're going through 100 rooms on the same thing because you really need to see Kerrigan's tits bouncing up and down.
I hate the fucking BattleNet so much. Why are you such a fuck up? You're worth billions of dollars! Fix your shit! Fire somebody! Fuck!
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
But it's basically...
How do you really feel, Jeff?
It blows my mind. It fucking blows my mind. I don't understand it either. I don't. It's stupid, and I don't think it's defensible. So my dream again to continue is there, or whatever they go forward with, because they're obviously moving forward with this unification thing of their online systems. Make it user friendly if you're going to do that. Don't make it shittier. Make it usable. And then people maybe won't complain about it anymore. But moving on, I want that, and then I want them to actually, for once, just fucking consider honestly supporting the esports scene, not this half-assed in-out, do we charge them licensing fees, do we not charge them licensing fees, do we try and take over the world and crush the grassroots shit to bring on the NASL sound guy and fuck the whole thing up all over again?
Too far, Jeff.
Too
far, Adam.
We need to stop this.
Too far, Adam.
I'm gonna go on a tear.
Adam.
And we don't want me to go on a tear right now.
This is not the cliff we go down now, Adam. This is for a later show when we're a little bit more established.
I know, I'm sorry. It's hard not to...
We're talking about Starcraft Brood War HD because
I know.
trigger me.
I know, it's bad. I know.
Our podcast.
Stay with me.
Stay with me.
Stay with me. It's okay, baby. I got you. It's all right. We're okay.
Woosah, Jeff. Woosah.
Brood War HD, as long as it's got a half-decent multiplayer and they don't fuck with it too much and the single player's there, people are going to be happy. And yeah, it's likely going to kill StarCraft 2, but at this point, I think it's probably good because people need a reason to forget about StarCraft 2. I know this is painting Nathanius right now.
Just like, give me the knife. I'll do it for you.
Because Nate is such a hardcore StarCraft 2 fan, and he said it himself on stream. He was like, I was 5 when Brood War came out, which is exactly why Nate's probably never going to be able to understand why Brood War is a flat-out better game than StarCraft 2. But
Goliath.
It is what it is.
Online.
Next.
It is what it is.
Next.
It is what it is.
Next.
Just don't fuck up.
I know.
Just don't fuck it up.
I know.
Just don't
fuck it up. Just we have faith in you.
I want it. I want it, but I want it done right.
I want it done so bad. I want it
Next.
so bad. Don't fuck it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to move on into our first iteration of tech support Here's where a jingle's gonna be someday if we ever get one. It's all right. So we're gonna do tech support,
Please
which is
support.
basically Dear LAGTV expanded to Dear Technical Alpha, renamed, rebadged to tech support, where people on Patreon, tiers $10 and higher, get to ask us questions each and every week for the following episode. We pick a couple to do, we answer them as best as we can, and then with the leftover ones, we pick some more, and we're going to be doing some bonus content for the YouTube channel and for the RSS feed audio guys out there in iTunes and Google Play Land and everything else. So I asked before the show for Mr. Black and Mr. Panic to pick 2 questions. We're going to pick one from each to start. And then if we have time or we feel like we want to do a third one or something, we will. But if not, whatever, that will be it for
stick
the
to 2.
segment.
We're already
Then
over, so
we'll
we'll stick to 2. Unless the first one
well,
goes for a while,
including
then
the break. We're not over yet. We're good. We're good for about 10 minutes now. But we've got the time. Mr. Black, what do you got for me, sir? What's the first question? I'm going to give it up to you. Tech support.
Okay. Oh man. Okay, well, I picked 2, and it's actually the first 2 questions. This one comes from Lasha. He or she said, I think that it kind of sounds like a female name, but it kind of sounds like a dope guy's name, too.
Jeff, this is the internet now. Be careful you don't assume genders, or the world might come to an end.
Well, Lasha.
Pronouns.
Lasha says, "Hi, guys. Do you think life exists on other planets?"
Oh shit! Way to pick one that's totally a short answer. All right, so
well, good thing I did. So because we,
that was sarcasm. This is a little bit long. I mean, we can make it pretty short. I mean, I think, I think it would be crazy to not think that there's life on other planets. I mean, if you think of just the nigh on infinite nature of our known universe, even within the universe we can accurately know that does exist, and then whoever knows how much further on out beyond that exists, even if you just went statistically speaking, there is something. Now, does that mean that there is, if you go by some physics stuff, you could go deep enough that means that right now there is another universe where there's another Adam, another Jeff, and another Panic talking about Brood War HD coming out, but that universe, Blizzard actually only doubles down on good hands. That's there's infinite possibilities, so on and so forth. But outside of the special physics stuff, yeah, absolutely, there's got to be. I mean, it doesn't mean it's all sentient, but there's a good shot that even that level, there's some sort of sentience to it, and I think you have to just believe that it does. What do you think? What do you think, Panic?
God, I hope so, because if we're the only ones, that's just really sad. You really think about it? We're the best life that came out. We're the best life that came out.
This is the best that could happen.
Entire universe. Really?
Very true.
I most certainly believe that there's other life somewhere, and I actually think there's other life that would be as advanced as we are. Or maybe even more so. Within our galaxy, we haven't seen anything yet, but our galaxy is massive. And just thinking about how there's trillions of stars in this galaxy, and then trillions of stars in many other universes, and trillions within those universes, and it's what we know is it's infinite and it's always expanding. But there are theories that there's all kinds of different things, but just on just the vast number of possible planets or stars that could hold life, and who were to even think that life wouldn't necessarily mean water and oxygen or those certain things. There may be life out there that
doesn't have to be a carbon-based life form.
Yeah, exactly. It could be something totally different, even something that our minds can't even comprehend. And it doesn't necessarily have to have the form of a human or a walking thing. It could be a smoke. It could be I have no idea. To think that there isn't out there would just be closed-minded and just, in my opinion, stupid.
Well, Adam proves the existence of a salt-based life form. Let's be honest here.
That's right.
So
that's
salty.
Me.
So salty. All right. So I think we...
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, just as a cap to that, I mean, to add to what you just said about, the odds of other planets actually being able to hold life, specifically of our own type. I mean, NASA just not long ago came out and had a big live stream thing about, hey guys, we just found one system that has, how many was it, 7 or something?
It was 7 or 9
in the system. It was some crazy number, all of which had the possibility with 2 or 3 of them having a really good shot and one of them being a really, really good shot from what they knew out of the gate. So that kind of stuff's exciting. Obviously, we're not going to see it in our lifetime, but the odds are
you never know,
shy of
short
of us blowing ourselves up, which is pretty high probability, honestly. If we can get beyond, like my favorite physicist said, Michio Kaku, if we can get on beyond blowing ourselves up and actually work together, that's the next stage of humanity, is working together to move on to another planet. So the 2 outcomes are we kill ourselves or we get off the planet. That's basically our 2 outcomes. And we'll see how that goes to that point. But what's our next question? Panic, you got to pick the next one.
I've got 2 chosen. I don't know if I want to go serious or funny. That's the big question.
You go whatever you want.
All right, we're going to go with Mark Blankhorn when he came in and said, does a hot dog qualify as a sandwich?
Oh my God!
I guess
legit
I'll start,
question, man.
I guess I'll start it off. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. I'm gonna say yes, just because it is a piece of bread or bun surrounded by the by the meat or whatever type of sandwich you have in there. Maybe it's a BLT or something like that.
Wrong.
If you got a regular sandwich and it's you've got bread and you've got the stuff inside, it's no different than a hot dog. You got the hot dog and then you've got the bun around it. It's a sandwich. Boom. Bitch.
I mean, that's a pretty. I think that's fair. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I've never. I think the problem is nobody goes through life until they get like Snoop Dogg high, and then they go, "Man, is a hot dog a sandwich?" Like nobody actually thinks about.
Answer the question.
Answer it, Adam.
It's a fucking sandwich. It's a piece of meat between 2 pieces of bread or one bun.
It is. I'm telling you.
But
I'm gonna say,
is it a sandwich? Is it a wrap? Like, what is it? Because a sandwich is different than a wrap, which is, if that's the case, then what is
still considered
if it's
a
not
sandwich?
If it's not a sandwich, then what is the hot dog then?
At best, I would say it's maybe an open-faced sandwich. The way I see a sandwich is it's 2 independent pieces of bread with contents in the middle. A hot dog is one bun that's joined. If you have a hot dog where the bun is split, you are disappointed in life. Number 2, my second criteria, let me finish, is you can hold a sandwich in any orientation and it retains its symmetry. If you turn a hot dog like upside down, you got ketchup leaking everywhere, you got stuff falling off. It's not a sandwich. It's not symmetrical. It's not portable as easily. You have to maintain its orientation.
Okay, so then by that definition, a burger is a sandwich.
Yes.
Because there's lots of people that don't consider a hamburger to be a sandwich.
I would consider a burger to be a sandwich. A type of sandwich, yes.
Sounding like a hypocrite, motherfucker. You sound like a hypocrite.
I will actually fight you over the hot dog question.
Listen,
Jeff.
I don't smoke weed, all right?
face-
So I'm not into this. I don't know. I don't care either. I don't even like hot dogs that much.
crises or crisey about hot dogs being sandwiches. I mean, an open-faced sandwich is still a sandwich. That's the problem. It still has the word sandwich in it.
That's right.
I guess you got to be more specific. But is it? Yeah, somebody in chat just saw this. Is a sub a sandwich then? Because remember how Subway used to cut their sandwiches.
Yeah,
They used to cut a wedge out of
Answer
it.
that one, Panic.
They cut a fucking wedge out of it. It's a hot dog
Of course
bun.
it's a sandwich.
Put the shit in. Really?
It's 2 separate pieces of bread.
No. It's one thing that they used
It's
to
a
cut
loaf
in
that you cut it.
triangle out of. It's a loaf.
Listen, what a hot dog bun is one piece of bread that is cut to make a slit so you can put the hot dog in it. Like a sub, it's one loaf of bread that you slice to put stuff in it. so that you can hold the
Yeah, but a
the
sub,
contents in it.
a sub is when they slice the bread, they completely separate it so you can put all the materials in it.
No, they don't.
No.
They only cut it to the
Then they're
joint
doing it wrong.
folds.
Oh, you lost this war, Panic. You lost
Got
it.
him.
The subways I go to, they cut completely through. I don't
All
know
right,
what
well,
you Canadian guys
America's
do up there.
fucked.
Yeah, well,
America's
we already know
fucked.
that.
They're doing it
Listen,
wrong.
well, then, you know what? In the comments section, you guys let us know.
Yeah, you guys
Is it
let
a
us know.
sandwich or not? All right?
Absolutely. You guys let us know. That's it. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to call it there. That's another episode of Technical Alpha in the books. Once again, we are on iTunes. We are on Google Play. We are on SoundCloud and everywhere else. You can get all those links and the raw RSS feed if you use podcast apps over at technicalalpha.audio. Our website also on the Patreon at patreon.com/Technical Alpha, where you can get all the links you could need and more. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Gentlemen, do you have any other closing thoughts before we head out of here?
I love you all, even though you guys are wrong about the sandwiches. Hashtag third guy loves you all.
And I'll say I appreciate all the support with the podcast, guys. It's been incredible. Make sure to go and follow us on your on the way that you like to listen, whether it's SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube,
That's the best
whatever
way to
it
help
is.
us right now.
Follow and rate. If you're on iTunes, the way that we're gonna grow is if you go and rate it, 5-star, or give it an honest rating. What you think what it is. 5-star, go 5-star, and then that's gonna help us move up into the list of things. We only got I think 19 questions, and we've got, for those that don't know, once again, I know Adam explained it. For anybody that is supporting in Patreon $10 or higher, what Adam does is a day or two before the podcast, he will
it'll be
make
even longer before this time because we have it'll be like almost the whole week it'll be up.
Okay, well then there you go. So I don't know if you guys hang out, and we would love you guys to start hanging out on the Patreon page if you are a supporter there, because there is a community, a forum there where you can talk. We post things. We have some cool stuff on the way, but please submit more questions. Some of them are really stupid and we probably won't answer. But if there's something that you really want answered and we didn't get to it this week, just resubmit it again for next week, and we'll take a look at it. But if you guys are $10 or higher already, go and just write a question, because like Adam said earlier, I don't know if he caught it or not, we're going to get together once a month as well, and we're going to answer a bunch of questions off the stream and on your feeds, and we're going to start releasing tech support series on YouTube to give you guys a little bit more so we can answer more of your questions and give you guys more content. So yes, please, once again, go do that. And go give us that 5-star. Once again, go do it. And that's pretty much it. Sorry, I got to sell out. I mean, Adam's hosting this bitch, but he doesn't have the sellout chops. I'm just gonna be that guy. I'm gonna be that guy. So go do it.
All right.
Go follow us.
All right, go and follow us at least, guys. It really does go a long way if you do that and rate it, because it does really help us climb the ranks in there to get us outside of just the community here, and to be able to expose us to more people, so that more people can tell us we're crazy.
And do me a favor. Tell one friend about the podcast. One friend.
Oh, we're going further.
If you're listening to this podcast, tell one of your buddies. They may not have liked us because of StarCraft, but now we're talking about everything. So if they're a gamer, if they're a movie buff, we're actually going to be cutting out the movie sections as well and posting that on YouTube as a separate video for those that can't watch the full 2 hours and stuff like that. Tell one friend, or tell 10, about the podcast, and spread the word.
Shall we hit those shout-outs, gentlemen?
We should hit the shout-outs.
There we go.
We're gonna absolutely get there. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It is the Patreon producers time. You know what? Well, I can't even ask Jeff or Panic to do them, because they can no longer see this stuff anymore until it hits the stream. So I'm going to keep reading them out. Once again, got to give a big shout out to Beastall Kid, Northern Flow, Mr. Miyagi, Corey K, Toad of Steel, Naily, J.A., Matt D, Derek P, Jonathan A, Ryan M, Ice Wolfie, and Beastly Barlow for being our Patreon producers. Thank you so much, gentlemen and ladies and everything in between. It's been an absolute pleasure. We really appreciate you guys coming and spending some time with us tonight. We look forward to seeing you again next week, same time, same bat channel, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. And until then, I'm NovaWar.
MaximusBlack. No, I'm going
Please,
second,
not
bitch.
all,
I'm going second.
Not all at once, guys.
I'm second. You're the third guy, all right? Mexican.
Come on!
Maybe once.
Get your
Maybe once. Maybe once, Jeff.
All right, guys. Peace.
Peace out.